Hello, everybody. First few moments on YouTube where you don't really know if anybody is there or not. So there we go. Now we have people here. So I've got the headset on tonight. As you may kind of hear, my voice is kind of getting a little bit low. I'm just getting over a cold. So I don't know how long I'll be on tonight, but I thought I would show in order to do some question and answer tonight. Also, I wanted to say a couple of special messages while I'm here, but I'll wait till a lot more people get here in order to do that, which shouldn't take too long because it seems like everybody's popping on already. But in the meantime, feel free to put your astrological questions over in the chat window. So remember, this is not to be necessarily approached as me doing live horoscope readings for you. This is more just any questions you might have about astrology in general. Okay? So feel free to ask away. Otherwise, I'm going to blab on and on and on. Okay? After I have a drink. Pardon me. Okay, so just briefly, for those of you who are interested, I am offering a discount on astrological services until 10:30 p.m. tonight. If you use the discount code in all uppercase letters VENUS, typing that into the chat window now. Okay, so if you have any general questions about astrology, you can feel free to ask away. And I'll probably be here for like a good, 15, 20 minutes or so. Okay. Okay, what does Ketu transit over Venus or Dharmakaraka mean? Well, it can mean a lot of different things. That's the complex thing. And those different things are all indicated by what dasha you might be in. Sorry, I'll say that again because my voice broke. What dasha you're in. So if you're in a dasha for difficulty in relationships, then a K2 transit over Venus might kind of bring on those difficulties, right? If you're in a dasha for benefit from relationships, then that K2 transit can actually be helpful. But K2 is a planet that is often misunderstood because whilst it's connected with liberation, which is how most people understand it, it's also connected to suppression and how we suppress ourselves from doing the very things that we need to do in order to bring about our evolution and to help us to grow. So K2, as it transits over Venus, can make us, if there is also an agenda for this in the dashas, and I need to be very clear about that, it can make us hold ourselves back in relationships or be uncertain if we're making wise ideas, a lot of things like that. But again, a lot of it is really dependent on your on the dasha that you're in while the transit's going on and what K2 has an agenda for in your horoscope. Somebody asked, does the degree of the ascendant not matter in Vedic astrology? Yes, it does, especially if you work with house cusps like I do. The degree of the ascendant matters a whole lot. Okay. Is somebody said, I'm going through Venus Mahadasha, Jupiter Antardasha, I'm Aquarius. Okay, so I generally don't like to do horoscope interpretations here. Main reason being is I don't know the rest of your horoscope. That's just general things. I like looking at things like the Avastas, which I don't have in front of me in your particular case. Jupiter is, can bring good things and bad things dependent upon all your different horoscope charts. For that, I really need to see the full horoscope. So really what I would recommend, and there is a 10% discount tonight until 10:30 p.m. London time, which is really about another hour and a half, is to go and schedule a consultation with me through my astrological services page, because then I'd be able to take a clearer look at it for you because I'd have your entire horoscope in front of me. Okay, so let's see what else we've got here. So somebody's saying K2 Mahadasha. So everybody's asking a lot of similar questions tonight. which is not your problem. You're really curious and you're wanting to know these things, and I take that on board. But really, transits only operate within the context of the dasha that you're in. So just saying I'm in Ketu Mahadasha, what's the impact of the Mars Ketu conjunction? I need to know like what it's, transiting in your chart. I need to know the agenda that K2 has. I need to know so many things that you're not really going to be able to tell me, because then otherwise, if I come out and give you something, it's just going to be a generalization, which you may start believing and is not really as accurate as you might have hoped. Okay. All right. So somebody said, can I talk about what house cusps are in brief? Well, in terms of how I use them in Vedic astrology, they are specific degree points that relate to a particular house in the horoscope. And they're a more concrete manifestation of the equal house, right? But sometimes you can have the sixth house cusp in the fourth equal house, which means that whatever sign holds the fourth equal house and also holds the sixth house cusp has an agenda for both sixth and fourth house factors. Okay, that's about as simple as I can put it without going into something that's extremely complex. But I am also offering courses right now for people who are interested. There are 2 video courses that are available through my website, the Varga video course, as well as the Clarifying Rahu and Ketu video course. Both of those are available in sections or for purchase in full. And for those of you who already have the basics of astrology down, there's an approaching webinar course on working with mutual agenda of the planets. And on that, we're going to cover a lot about the house cusps and avastas and Vimshottari Dasha, and how to put everything together in order to do excellent concrete prediction using Vimshottari Dasha. That's available through my website. If you're interested in registering for the course, go to AuthenticAstrology.com. I will type that into the chat window for you. And look for the link on courses, and it'll have a drop-down menu. Okay. Do I ever adjust birth times based on a reading, an example, born on cusp of a particular sign or nakshatra? You mean, do I adjust things on the fly? Only if I, am pretty sure that I'm doing that. Otherwise, I prefer to do full rectification on people. Okay. So somebody's saying, how to remedy 7th Lord Mars eclipsed by Ketu. Okay. Remedies also have to be taken on a holistic perspective from the entire horoscope, not just from a couple of factors in the horoscope. And in addition to that, a lot of people have a misconception about remedies that I quite often find myself on a quote unquote mission of giving my own personal opinion and climbing up on my own porta pulpit about it, which is the fact that basically remedies don't exist to make problems go away entirely. They exist to help you to work on your karma. Okay. So a lot of people get into remedies thinking that if they do something, it's going to make something disappear from their horoscope, and then find that it doesn't. And then they blame the astrologer or blame the remedy or something like that. But remedies aren't really there to make the entire problem go away. They're there to help you to focus on solving the problem yourself. But sometimes you need a little bit of help, and that's what remedies are good for. Okay. Best book for nakshatras. Well, I'm going to be writing one hopefully within the next year, trying to do that. Hard to do sometimes. But another one that I often recommend to people is Myths and Symbols of Vedic Astrology by Bepin Bahari. Okay. Do I see conjunctions in D9? Conjunctions in the Navamsha chart are just 2 planets in the same Rashi. It's not that if you were to look up in the sky that those 2 planets would be conjuncting each other. A lot of people like to try to work with planetary aspects in the Varga charts, and planetary aspects in the Varga charts, in my humble opinion, are not something that really works, because planetary aspects are based upon astronomy rather than what's going on in the Varga charts, because the only actual astronomy that's going on in the horoscope is in the Rashi chart. All the other Varga charts are that Rashi chart carved up into equal sections. So in answering that question, conjunctions in the D9 basically are when two planets are in the same sign, which is what's happening in the Rashi chart too, but those two planets would actually be close to each other in the sky. So in terms of do I see conjunctions in the Vamsha chart? Yes, I do, but I also recognize that they're not astronomical conjunctions of planets, okay? Or sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not, okay? That's the clearest way to say that. Okay, let's see other questions that we have. So again, a reminder, 10% off of astrological services, all astrological services, and this is likely going to be the last time I do this for a while. I'm doing it because of the approaching Venus retrograde cycle. And I extended it from the other day, only changed the discount code, and that is going to expire in about 90 minutes from now. So if you want to take advantage of that, the discount code in all uppercase letters is Venus. And you just go to the astrological services page of Authentic Astrology, the astrological services link, and that will take you to the page and you just enter the discount code when you go to make payment. Okay. Significance of Rahu conjuncting Jupiter in D1 and D9. Well, there can be a lot of different significances. I'm just going to give you a vast generalization based upon that. So, if this relates to your own horoscope, be aware that this may or may not have impact because I would need to see your entire horoscope. I have to state that over and over again because people tend to misunderstand that. Rahu conjunct Jupiter quite often becomes a crisis of belief. The individual may fanatically get into certain beliefs and then find themselves in a position where those beliefs don't really work for them. And they come out the other side, and then they may feel on a certain level like they've kind of been foolish or something like that. It also relates to a crisis of hope or a crisis of faith, especially if it has eighth house significations where there can also be further trust issues that are involved. Sometimes in rare cases, it can mean problems with the spiritual teacher or a tendency to get into spiritual paths very deeply only to find out that they don't work for you. So many different things it can relate to. Okay. Let's see what we've got going on. Okay, so for people who are putting their own horoscope things that are here, and for people who are saying, give me a remedial for Mars Saturn close conjunction, it's horoscope specific, everybody. I'm really sorry. I know that you're really wanting me, and I do relate that you're really wanting me to help you with your questions like that. But if I did that, it would be a disservice to you because I don't know what I'm looking at really. I'm just giving you things for one or two planets in your chart, and that's irresponsible on my part. Somebody's also saying, being in Venus Dasha, what will Jupiter bring me as a Scorpio ascendant in Pisces moon while having my natal in Jupiter 7th house retro? Okay, so basically, I do a lot of work with the Avastas, Baladi Avastas and Jagradati Avastas, which the information you're telling me is only going to allow me to give you some vast generalization about your horoscope, which is likely not going to be true. I know I keep saying that over and over again. It's not that I'm, trying to be a meanie. It's just that, it's not good for me to do that because I'm giving you information that's not really helpful to you. Okay. I'd much rather give you information that's helpful. Okay. Yeah, it's been a rough full moon for a lot of people, I think. With the Ketu Mars thing mixed into the equation, it's been somewhat of an explosive full moon. It's been somewhat of an explosive full moon for a lot of people. So, you just got to recognize that everything that happens in your life, it's for a reason. Even this, even the difficulties, that's for a reason. Okay. Is 1 degree retrograde planet used for previous sign? I do not know what you mean. I am sorry. I'm sorry. I don't understand that question. Okay. What is Saturn Mahadasha like? Saturn Mahadasha is going to be determined by the dignity, or in addition to that, the Baladi Avastas and Jagradati Avastas of Saturn in all your Varga charts. not just your Rashi chart. Saturn in Cancer, though, is generally, it can make having Saturn in Cancer in the 11th, it can separate an individual from their aspirations. But you know how that all tends to kind of play itself out. Following your inspirations and focusing on those things that inspire you and putting a lot of effort towards those really can also separate you from income. But that's just a vast generalization, and it depends on what the rest of your antardashas and things like that are. Okay. What do 0 and 29-degree planets mean in characteristics apart from being Jaimini Karaka? I think you'd need to clarify your question a little bit more. My apologies. Are Mars nakshatras uniquely artistic? Not always. Not always. They can be. Those energies can play themselves out in different manners too. But yes, Dhanishta nakshatra can be musically oriented. Mrigashira nakshatra can be very poetic. So yes, I see where you're coming from with that. Chitra, the same thing, but a lot of it depends on the planets that are in those nakshatras and the well-being of Mars. Okay. Do I use Uranus and Pluto only in rare circumstances? Can I tell if somebody's birth time is accurate? Assumed birth time falls near 2 nakshatras on ascendant. What I would do instead is have the person set up a rectification with me and give me some exact dates of things that happened in their life and go through and rectify their chart in that way, which, is something that I offer. And if it's something you want to take advantage of as an astrological service, you could contact me for that if you wanted to. I don't generally do rectification on the fly, with the exception of some rare circumstances where it's just blatantly obvious. Okay. But if I know a birth time's off, then I prefer to really do justice to the rectification, because I work with a lot of house cusps and things like that. And I work with house cusps in the Varga charts too. So for that, a good birth time is very helpful. Most people have decent birth times. And when I say good birth time, I just mean when I get birth times from people where they say, well, I was born sometime in the morning, or well, I was born close to 8 a.m. Those birth times generally need rectifying. Thanks, Lali, for saying that. That's much appreciated. Okay, I can probably handle about another 5 minutes before my voice just gives out completely. Okay, so just a reminder too, so if you want to schedule with me, there is a special opportunity to get a 10% discount on any astrological service if you go to AuthenticAstrology.com. And when you go to the astrological services page, I misspelled that. Let's do that again. And when you go to the astrological services page, if you enter the discount code in all uppercase letters, VENUS, okay, when you go to make payment. Does Venus and Rahu in the 7th always imply divorce? And does that ever wean off with age? No, Venus and Rahu in the 7th does not always imply divorce. Okay, there's no snapshot techniques are just snapshot techniques. Okay, so you have to follow through with them and do the research. Okay, that's why I don't like doing things quickly and on the spot. Okay, so it's a planet, but I can't work out whether it's afflicted by the fact that it's retrograde and in the 3rd house. Retrograde planets are not afflicted. People need to keep saying that over and over and over again. And I'll say it again, okay? I know people don't understand it. Retrograde planets have strong chestabala, so they're not afflicted. It's just that people look for retrograde planets to do something external for them, when retrograde planets are generally more internalized, which doesn't mean that retrograde planets can't create concrete things. It just means that they create concrete things through a very internalized process. So when Mercury's retrograde, people get all frustrated and go, oh God, my life, this is going to go wrong, and I better not communicate or sign any contracts because Mercury's retrograde. Well, actually, if you use Mercury retrograde to really review that contract, contract, which is what Mercury retrograde is about review and reflection, then that retrograde Mercury can actually help you sign that contract. Okay, so retrograde planets are not necessarily bad. People, I can't say that enough, right? They're some of the strongest planets in the horoscope. Okay. So also another reminder, if you're interested in my courses, there's an upcoming course that starts the 7th of October. I changed the date of that one, the 7th of October, a Sunday, and that's at 8 p.m. London time. It's a 15-week webinar series on using things like house cusps, mutual agenda of the planets, the avastas, in order to do concrete prediction using Vimshottari Dasha. Registration for that course is $329 for a 15-week course. That breaks down to just a little over $20 per class. And you can register for that through my website. Okay. If you have Gandanta points in your horoscope and you've got a strong Mercury, you don't need to get as concerned about it. Mercury, and even with a weaker Mercury, it's not as big of a deal as people often make it out to be, right? It just means that you have to learn how to work with it better. Okay. And I can't go more into depth with that because I wouldn't have the time, and I'm going to have to go here in just a moment. Okay. So just a reminder, everybody, before I go, and I actually do have to go because I'm kind of running out of throat to talk. So if you want to schedule a consultation with me, you can do so through the astrological services page of my website. Basically, the link to my website is authentic.astrology.com. 10% off of consultations until 10:30 p.m. London time tonight. That's about an hour and a half from now. Venus is the word that you need to enter in the discount code window. Thanks everybody for watching. I do really appreciate it. Sorry I don't have more throat to come out with tonight. Please do take the very best care of yourself, and I'll talk to you all when I have more throat. Bye now.